I really want to focus today on these two questions, which is how to build a digital channel. It's the number one question I get is, how do I do this? I'm thinking about doing this, but I don't really know how to. And how to generate revenue, so how to actually make money from this, okay? So B2C, B2B, and B2G. So just quick question for everybody. Who here actually posts on social media right now? Maybe their own personal account, could be on Chinese social media quite regularly, let's say a few times a week. Okay, so it's about 50%, good. How many of you in your companies, so digital marketing or in your businesses, does some sort of content creation or posting articles right now? Okay, so it's about 10%. And how many people have thought about being a KOL and producing videos and, okay, great. Okay, so it's not a lot of people, but I get this main question a lot, which is, I'm thinking about doing these videos and channel. I'm thinking about doing it, but I don't really know where to start. So my best advice is don't think, do it. I started my channel during COVID and just started posting. I started with all different topics. I did food, I did travel, I did being British, all different things. But ultimately, you find your own rhythm, you find your own niche eventually by just producing content. Rather than having a plan, it's best to just stick to who you are. It makes no sense for me to do a video on being Italian, right, or being Spanish. I'm British, I have an interest in etiquette, I have an interest in behavior in China, what people do out and about, so that's what I wanted to focus on. And focus on what you're good at. A lot of people will try and do different things and try and, it makes no sense for me to do content on being a yoga teacher, right? But actually, storytelling is the most important thing. So when you're doing video content, instead of just plugging products or plugging services like buy, you want to focus on what is the story behind making this product or service? How did you grow it? This is what's going to get the most engagement with audiences ultimately. So just quickly on my story, I started 3 years ago. I started during the pandemic. So what I noticed was everybody was at home on their phones, swiping away, as we all do nowadays, right? And I saw a little niche and realized that there could be some interest in me as a person. And I think everybody here has value to give. You all have businesses, you all have great personalities, you all have a lot of experience and a lot of value to give to audiences. So I also started with a full-time job. So I had a Jojo 996 kind of job with the European Chamber, and then I went on to the China-Britain Business Council. So I hear excuses all the time. I don't have enough time to do a channel. I don't have enough time to make content. It's nonsense. Everybody has time in a week or 2 weeks to do a 30-second video about something, about a topic, and about your business. It's really, really simple, and I'm going to show that today, how to really streamline it and make it as quick and easy as possible with putting in effort, but not putting in too much work. Okay, so these are some of the brands that I work with. So just to give a quick overview, I'm a British KOL. Does anybody know the difference between a KOL and a KOC and what they stand for, by any chance? Key opinion leader and key opinion consumer. So you may have heard these terms bounded around. So a KOL is essentially someone with 100,000 fans plus. They usually get approached by companies to do videos for them, to advertise products and services. They usually do a lot of content, and it's very sort of focus-based. KOC is usually an influencer with less than 100,000 fans. They also usually approach companies to work with them. Every KOL is a KOC, but not every KOC is a KOL. So I'm actually a combination between the two. I get approached by companies to do videos and content, but I also approach a lot of companies as well, because there are a lot of British brands that want to do stuff in China, but they don't even know about WeChat. They don't even know about Xiaohongshu. They don't even know about Douyin. So I like to do a bit of BD myself. I also have a BD team, but also I get approached through my videos, through DMs. Companies approach me to do videos and to market their services and products. So my main focus is on education. I work with a lot of international schools, universities, and education consultancy companies. Focus is mainly parents and students. So obviously parents have got the money. They're going to be paying for their kids to go to these different institutions. And I also focus on British culture. So this is something to bear in mind. If you're an American, it doesn't really make any sense to do, stick to what you grew up in, right? Stick to what you know, and really focus on that kind of content. So these are just some of the brands. So Wellington College, and every brand has a different requirement. So Wellington College, purely they want to target rich parents who want to send their kids to school. So that's quite easy content to do. Quite easy to focus on the best parts of the school. Vitabiotics, they want to focus on brand awareness. So they're a vitamin company in the UK, one of the biggest, and they just want to focus on getting the brand out there. And this is what my channel is really about. My channel is not going to sell hundreds of thousands of RMB worth of product. I'd stick to the live streamers for that kind of stuff. My company is about brand awareness, getting brands out there, softer advertising. I do get some business through my DMs, but mainly for selling products and services, you want to stick to the live streamers. My Protein, similar kind of case. They wanted to do a lot of brand awareness here in China when they started 3 years ago. And Emma Hardy is a cosmetics company in the UK, but they focus mainly with the women's market. So it makes no sense to go through my channel. My channel is made up of parents and students. So I do a bit of consultancy work with them, setting up with live streamers and also streamlining their content, because as you'll see in the next slide, this is some of the mistakes that companies make. There's still, I'd say, a lot in China being too corporate. So you've probably seen on YouTube like the 4-minute landscape kind of video. It wastes too much time. If you can see out on the street, any user of a phone is doing the 1, 2, 3 swipe, 1, 2, 3 swipe. So it makes no sense to do kind of a 4-minute video, because the 3-minute 50 seconds that you're also got in that video is going to be wasted. So bear in mind that when you produce content, you want to make it as streamlined and as quick as possible, like less than 1 minute. Even 1 minute nowadays is a bit too long. 30 seconds is always quite a nice mark. And also portrait. A lot of people still do the kind of landscapey videos, so turning the phone that way rather than this way. Portrait is a lot more personal. It's a lot more for audiences. They can really identify more with you. Posting for the sake of it. So I'm sure we're all kind of culprits of this. We all post on our Pengyo trend something. When I post content, I really want to think about the message. Like, what's it trying to achieve? Who am I targeting here? What am I selling? Because if you're just posting for the sake of it, it's great for the platforms. And this is something else to bear in mind is Xiaohongshu, WeChat, Douyin, all of these platforms, you need to be producing content weekly. If you're doing something every 2-3 weeks, even monthly, they're just not going to push your content as much. So I know some people say every day. I think that's too much personally. I post once, twice a week. And you want to kind of stick to that routine, almost like going to the gym, right? You've got to stick with that routine. No video content. I see a lot of companies just doing Weixin Gongzhonghao articles and just hoping that it gains traction and garners interest, and too advertising. You really want to, when you're doing your content, you really want to focus on people, focus on case studies and what works, because we all identify with each other, and just talking about a product and saying buy this, do this, it doesn't have any identity. So you really want to focus on people, and this is what the KOL market's about. It's really everybody here is the face of a company, and that's what you're selling. You're not always selling the product or the service. People buy from people first. Not investing in marketing. A lot of companies that I speak to just have their sort of bog standard marketing team, maybe 2 or 3 people writing articles, usually investing quite cheaply using students and things like that, which is great. But you sometimes have to outsource things. So try something new, try some video content that you haven't really tried before. You know, don't just stick to the Weixin Gongzhonghao WeChat articles formula, which is all very formulaic. We all see it on our WeChat moments. Everything, you know, we always see a WeChat article popping up and we usually just swipe, don't we? But if we see a video, we're more likely to click on it. And we would say a picture paints 1,000 words, but a video paints 1,000,000. So yeah, working with KOLs. And also the staff being behind the content. So many of you work in companies where I'm sure you post content and then nobody in your company actually likes and shares it on their WeChat. I know some people are a bit personal about this kind of thing, but I personally think if you're behind a company and you want to get as much traction, everybody in your team should be sharing it, or at least sharing it in different groups or with their network. They might be a bit funny about posting it on the Pengyou Chuan, but certainly they need to be behind the content. The companies that I worked with where everybody was behind it and liking it and sharing it, they're the first port of call, right? They're the first people that have got the content. And if they push out to their own network, then it's going to get a lot more traction. So just some initial tips, which is very relatable for both if you're an individual or a company. Just a few things that I wrote down is to do everything yourself. So in the sense of, if you want to do your own content, write your own scripts, do all the filming, edit it yourself, learn the ropes first, because you'll save a job later on. You know, I work with editors right now, but sometimes an editor might pull out, so I have to be ready to, you know, jump in and things like that. So learn the whole process first, and then your videos will be better. Beware of the MCN. Does everybody know what an MCN is? MCN, ooh. Very close. It's multi-channel network. So a multi-channel network is an agency that essentially looks after your channel and does all they usually do the script writing, they usually do the filming. You just turn up on the day and film. Now, some of them are okay, but a majority are not. A majority of them are they're actually scams. So I hear a lot of companies say, oh, I want to work with an MCN. And so usually they will manage about 1,000 KOLs and be helping them with all their content and everything. The problem with MCNs is if you sign BD deals, they usually take 60, 70%, which is madness. Can you imagine Leonardo DiCaprio with his agent in Hollywood, and the agent says, I want 60% of your film, you know, film fee. They're taking about 10%, right? So I've always done everything myself. And actually, I've never really had a good offer from an MCN. MCNs, they're more for when you get really big, but they're going to take a big slice of your channel. So whenever I do a deal with a company, I'm taking 100%. And then obviously I'm distributing it amongst my staff, but I'm, you know, and it's more integral then. The problem is with MCNs, if you work with an agency, they kind of have your IP eventually. They can log into your account, they post the content, all this kind of stuff. At any time, they can just take your channel. So be very beware of MCNs, multi-channel networks, which I'm probably going to get a lot of, I'm live streaming this right now, I'm probably going to get a lot of hate, but it's the truth, right? I've been doing this for 3 years, so, and you do get a lot of DMs saying, hey, we saw your content, can we manage it? No, you want to be your own manager. So you are the face. Everybody here, you're all a lot better looking than me. So you really want to think about you are the face of your company. So if you're producing videos, then people are going to DM you and direct message you, and then you are the first port of call, right? You're the first contact, which has a lot more power to it than outsourcing and doing corporate videos with no faces about your products. You are the face of the company, you are the face, so you have to get in front of the camera, I always feel, rather than doing kind of voiceover videos. Start piecemeal. I think everybody in here, if you have an interest in doing videos, is a video a week is manageable. It really is. I'm sure everybody has time here to film something and get it up on a Sunday. I also touched on this earlier, is to keep it under 1 minute. It's less work, right? You can really get a message across probably in 30 seconds nowadays. You know, it doesn't seem like a lot of time, but actually you can really write a script that is nice, and short and sweet. Write your own scripts. Why? Because integrity is everything in this industry. I have people approach me about, oh, I can write content for you. I did it once, never worked. The audience can just see through it. It's not your voice. People pick up on your voice eventually through the videos. So there's something to be said in writing your own content, not outsourcing. If you're talking about your business, your product, there's something to be said about that. And an audience will connect with that kind of content. Never copy. So take inspiration from other videos. I think it's good to have a scroll through every now and again, see what maybe your competitors are doing. But I've got a guy right now on Douyin, a Russian gentleman, who's copying my videos verbatim. So he says, how to sound more British? It doesn't work, right? So I've got nothing against Russians, got many Russian friends, and this could happen with anyone, but certainly copying is a big thing in this industry. There's a lot of companies that will take my videos and then juxtapose it against another image and change the content. So it's almost like writing your own book. You can have a ghostwriter, but there's something to be said about writing your own kind of content. And stick with it. A lot of people come to me and say, oh, I've been doing my video for a couple of weeks. I don't have any fans yet. It took me about 3 months before one of my videos eventually blew up. And I was pretty consistent. I was posting every day, but it really just takes one video, something that connects and resonates that will eventually blow up. And you won't believe what video actually blew up. It was a video about don't put your elbows on the table. Something really simple, but that video really kind of kick-started my channel as well. This is a little case study I want to show you. Before I go to the clip, it's only 10 seconds long, but I want you to focus on what am I selling here, okay? So the image is going to be here. It should start straight away, so just be ready and think about what am I actually selling.
In Great Britain, we never place our phone or other belongings on the table.
Okay, right, so really short, really silly. I personally think it's not that funny. 3 million views on Chinese social media. And just a quick question for you guys. Do any of you know what I'm trying to sell here? What product or service I'm trying to sell? British ideas. Earpods. Oh, teapots, exactly. The teapot. So you see this down here? This is what I'm selling. I'm not picking up the teapot and saying, buy this, or look at this, or drinking out the tea. Actually, you may not always notice it, but audiences, they do notice that. So this video alone generated 200,000 renminbi in sales of this pot. Okay? And it's, if you notice something else, it's a little bit risque. It's a little bit controversial, right? I'm sure people have told you before, put your phone down, especially Chinese audiences. If you tell them to put their phone down, no, I'm not going to put my phone down. You know, so it's kind of a little bit, it's going to split the audience. And this is kind of what you want with engagement on a product. You're not always going to produce really positive videos. Sometimes videos will split audiences, and that creates debate in the comments, and that is what creates a viral video. So I had some people saying, how rude, how dare you tell me to put my phone? You know, did you notice something else? I didn't say where to put the phone. So then I had about 100 comments saying, well, where do you put the phone? And then people jumping in. So you want to leave a little bit of ambiguity in your videos sometimes. Don't give the audience all the answers. You want to almost have some questions for them to take up. It's also it's cultural. You're learning something. I had a lot of audience say, I didn't know you shouldn't put your phone on the table. You should put it in your pocket when you're eating with someone. And it ends on a high. Now, I know I'm a little bit arrogant here. I'm a little bit sarcastic and no. But actually, it's ending on a high because you're focusing on the product. Okay, you're focusing on my face and on the product. These two aspects. The background as well, notice the background is very nice looking, okay? There's a lot of movement. I'm sure some of you have seen my videos where I'm just standing there at the camera, but there's a lot of movement. It's quite theatrical. There's a little bit of music in the background. Did you hear that? I'll just play that again.
In Great Britain, we never place our phone or other belongings on the table.
Okay, and I don't know if you guys can quickly catch it, but this thumbnail, okay?
We never place our phone or other belongings on the table.
And also in the subs, there's mistakes.
We never place
Our
our
phone.
belongings on the table.
Okay, so I had about 100 comments saying, hold on, you're British, you should speak proper English. So I deliberately did these little things, like little nuances in order to get engagement. The thumbnail, if you noticed, it's like, no, 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 okay? So if I tell everyone here, don't think of a black cat, what does everybody do? So with your thumbnails as well, so this is a thumbnail, the feng mian, you always want to make it nice and big writing. You don't want to use reds and greens because people are colorblind and these kind of things. You want to use yellows and really bright colors that are going to attract. I've also, by putting no, 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 people actually think, oh, actually, why do I want to click on that? It's telling me not to look at it. But so you can use I'm not saying copy this video, but use a similar formula compared to your traditional forms of advertising. So just to kind of get into the mind of the audience here as well, you want to think about kind of the psyche of the audience. And imagine this is your video. So usually when people click on a video, their expectation is here. You want to segment your videos into a few parts. So you want to start with kind of a premise. So what is the idea you're trying to get across? Then give them something to think about. So putting your phone on the table, why? I haven't told you why you shouldn't put your phone on the table. I'm implying that it's rude. So you want to segment it into premise, giving them a little bit of knowledge, but why, and then ending on a high. So ending on a reason why they want to go back and watch the video again, or why they want to go through your other content, or why they want to message you. As a result of that video as well, I had lots of people DMing me about the teapots. Where can I get this teapot? Where can I get this? Where can I get your suit? I had people messaging me, where are you? So you can see how there's so many things that you can sell here. There's so many different partnerships that you can sell. People asking me, where are you? I want to go here. Even though if you look at this, like where is this? So it's a hotel. It's quite a nice hotel. And so there's many different revenue streams here. Also, people messaging me saying I want to learn English, which is not really my thing. But I also had people messaging me about British business. So there were so many different sellers just from that one video. You've got products, you've got services. You've got companies then watching those videos and say, hey, we want to replicate this. We want to do something similar. That was with a tea brand, but that opened me up to a lot of international schools because they wanted to see more British-based content and more cultural content. So that one video, although it's 10 seconds long, you can see how much you can achieve just in a 10-second video. You don't need to be as arrogant as I am in that video, but certainly, you could do something that's a bit more positive about you, about your product, about your service, what you're trying to sell. So just to go back on this point, if the expectation is here, you always want to build on the expectation of the audience. You don't want them to be really excited to watch your video and then you don't give them any value. You want to build each time. So like premise, then giving them a bit of knowledge that they want to find out more, and then ending on a high. That's all you want. Ending on a joke is always a good one. I've done some videos recently, which you can check out afterwards, which end on a joke. And that's always, ending on a high is always a good one. Okay, so these are kind of the things you really want to bear in mind when you're producing content is softer advertising. You don't want to be pushing your company, your products, your services too much in people's faces, especially Chinese audiences. They are very sensitive to guanggao, to advertising. That word is a big thing. That video alone had about 50 comments saying guanggao, guanggao, and it's a bit annoying, but they're very sensitive compared to the West, I'd say. You really want to flash products. So there's a trend right now in China that, producing 30-second videos where the product is literally flashed within the first 1 or 2 seconds, then it's put away. Now, that goes against traditional marketing. Traditional marketing is, show the product as much as possible. It doesn't work like that in China. China is very much, people will pause a video and go back and see that product. They will actually, and then it's good because then they always go back, they want to find out more. Always have an 80-20 rule. I put 80-20 here, but actually it's more like 99-1. So 99 free content, free knowledge for audiences. We all love a freebie, right? And then 1% actually talking about your product or service in a video. The other reason you want to do that is the platforms, their algorithms are very sensitive to anything to do with product, service, buy this. Buy is actually kind of a banned word in China. Mai is a banned word on social media. So you have to be very clever with subtly sprinkling in your product or service into a video. Never hard sell, never say buy, 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 buy. Leave that to the live streamers. Live streamers is about volume. That's where you're going to sell lots of products, lots of services, courses. Leave that kind of work to these guys. For your own channels, really think about brand awareness in the beginning, selling you as a product. The product isn't what you're selling. You are selling yourself as a product. So here's a few methods of revenue that I've encountered, B2B, B2C, and B2G, so business to government. And really look at, when you're making videos, look at it as a free, cost-effective advertising, okay? Instead of outsourcing to a big digital marketing agency that you're going to spend loads and loads of money, you can do this all in-house and with KOLs. That's going to be a lot more targeted, get a lot more engagement, and ultimately, that's what you want, right? You want to be as popular as possible, so then you sell your products and services. It's also, when you produce videos, it's a great BD generator, a great lead generator. I get every day at least 50 DMs right now just about selling products, doing partnerships. Hey, I want to meet you because I've got this opportunity. So that's pretty good. If you had 50 messages on LinkedIn every day, that'd be pretty decent. And the social media, I get approached by all sorts of business people about opportunities. So it's a really great way to generate leads. Also, think about your WeChat articles. If your WeChat articles are a bit more video focused and a bit more succinct, you would probably get a lot more inquiries about your companies and what you sell. So one of the biggest revenue generators is partnership deals. So companies coming to me saying, hey, here's a load of money, film some videos for us. I don't tend to do one video deals, and this is good advice for anybody here, is never do a one video deal for a company. Why? Because the audience always wants a story to be told. It makes no sense for me to do one video about an international school. It's better to focus on different topics about the school and then build it over a campaign, almost like a 10-week campaign, 10 videos. Also, it's more money, right? If you're just doing one video with a company, there's, the balance is different. But you really want to tell a story with brands and companies. So obviously, selling products, selling services. Another thing is if any of you are interested in starting your own channels, in the beginning, a lot of companies will approach and say, here's this free product. Can you show it in your video for me? But we're not going to pay you, but here it is for free. Don't do it. Don't do it. It will cheapen your brand. It will cheapen your videos. Chinese audiences especially will cotton on to the fact if you're just pushing a product, especially if it's a freebie. I can always tell from, if anybody has, say, less than 50,000 fans and they're plugging a product with Nike, Adidas, any of these big brands, they haven't been paid by those companies. They've maybe been sent the product. So really think about, in the beginning, have some integrity. If you get approached by a lot of companies and they're like, hey, we're going to give you this free product, but we're not going to pay you, then really think about, well, actually, later on down the road, 3 years down the road, maybe you're affiliated with that company, but you don't actually have a contract, right? You're not actually, you didn't work for Nike if they send you a free product. So have some confidence in your channel, especially when you're starting off, not to jump into those deals. And I've certainly been tempted. A few big companies came to me and said, hey, here's this free product, but we're not going to pay you. You can just put it in your video. No. It's great to have a freebie, but ultimately you want to be paid. And travel. I travel a lot. So I was in Hangzhou on Wednesday. I went to Chengdu last week. So companies will fly you out. They'll pay for all your flights, all the hotels, which is great. But it's a great way to travel as well. I've traveled a lot from my channel. A lot of the schools that I'm speaking with and universities in the UK now are talking about flying me to the UK to give speeches or do videos. So think about that, your own countries. Travel is opening up again. It'd be great to get a free flight somewhere, especially if it's business class. It's a great way to travel as well. So I've touched on this earlier, live streaming. So everybody always talks about selling products. This is really where products are sold. I say working with live streamers. You have to be very careful with live streamers, especially with the ROI. There's quite a lot of fake data out there. So you really want to look at it two ways. If you have a company and you're selling a product, I would say have your own in-house live streamer. So one of your own team that's going to be producing content and live streaming, and then look at the outsourcing side as well. If you have too much reliance on working with the live streamers, then there's no real brand identity, because usually live streamers are short-term deals, right? They're not going to live stream with you for 6 months. So you really want to think about nurturing your own team or nurturing yourself as a live streamer. Live streaming, I don't do it a lot. I'm doing it now, but I'm not personally a big fan because it takes a lot of energy. You have to be very animated all the time. And I don't have the strength, to be honest. So you have to be aware that with live streaming, you can't just talk to the camera normally like this. You have to be very, very full of energy. But ways to make money if you are thinking about going down the live streaming route is gifts. So fans will send you gifts, hongbao, through the live stream. Bear in mind, a lot of the platforms, so Douyin, WeChat, Xiaohongshu, if a fan sends you 50 kuai hongbao, they're taking 50%. So you're only going to make 25 kuai, which isn't really great, right? So just bear that in mind with gifts. There's also tax as well. So I did live stream before, I had to pay tax on everything. So they're quite funny about that. For the foreigners in here, for the Lao Wai, live streaming is certainly possible on WeChat and Xiaohongshu, but Douyin is a bit funny. Right now, I think you need about 500,000 fans just to do live streaming, which I don't have 500,000 fans. Whereas the WeChat and Xiaohongshu teams, Little Red Book teams, are very open to foreigners doing live streaming, as long as you mostly speak Chinese. If you're mostly speaking English in those videos, they will cut your accounts. So just be aware that there are ways, if you're a foreigner, to do live streaming in China. WeChat, I think you need 10,000 fans, and Xiaohongshu, I think it's at least 50,000. But still, to get big on Xiaohongshu, Little Red Book is very easy. The algorithms are quite nice. So obviously selling products, services, courses for lots of business people in here. I haven't done my own digital course yet. It's something I'm going to explore. But certainly I get approached for, hey, I want to learn English, or I've got quite a few clients now that are Chinese that want to go to the UK. They want to set up in the UK. They want to do business there. So I'm a business consultant as well for them going. So there's lots of different ways to think about generating revenue from channels as well. And consultancy, obviously I do a lot of consultancies for companies, both Chinese going to the UK, UK come to China, how to build out their social media. I can help them with their Taobao store, Tmall, all of their e-commerce, and streamlining their content to make it a lot more Chinese-centric, Chinese-targeted, and also selling products here in China, how to take products from initial launch to selling loads with the live streamers on Chinese social media. So a little bit of homework for some of you guys, if you're interested in doing a video, or with your companies as well. I've put quite a tight deadline here, but I get a lot of people approach me saying, I'm thinking about doing videos. So this is a really nice kind of mini homework to do, which is today just think of some ideas. And think about this not just from an individual point of view, but from your companies as well. So maybe you've done the traditional marketing route of WeChat articles, maybe the odd video here and there. Think of some ideas today and write a little script, maybe tomorrow. Keep it under 1 minute, okay? It's less work. You can edit it pretty quickly, do it all yourself. Film at the weekend. Don't spend more than 15, 20 minutes filming the video, because again, it's a lot more content for you to then edit. And then set a little deadline for Sunday night, 9 p.m. Why Sunday night? I'm sure a lot of people in here on a Sunday night, what are we usually doing? We're usually at home, we're in bed, looking at the phone, swiping through. Everybody here is following each other. So if you post something on WeChat, post something on Xiaohongshu, post something on Douyin, then it's going to get a lot more engagement. This is kind of prime time. And a lot of people say, well, everybody's posting this time. Yeah, but if the content is good and it's viral, then it's going to get a lot more engagement. So this is always a nice thing to think about. And if you're thinking about making your own videos and content, the one question I have for you guys is, are you going to make a video? Right? If it's yes, do it. If it's no, don't do it, right? Your heart's got to be in this. It's almost like going back to the gym. If you don't go to the gym every week, you're not going to get stronger, you're not going to get fitter. So really think about, do I want this? Because it can be challenging at times. You know, I get a lot of hate. I get people saying they want to kill me. I've had all sorts of things. But ultimately, in the back of my mind, I'm just thinking, I'm selling myself, I'm selling a product, I'm selling a service, right? And haters are going to hate, right? You need haters in your channel to build a channel. And it makes you quite resilient, actually. No one can criticize me, and I won't be affected. So it does give you quite a lot of, I'm talking about revenue today, but it gives you quite a lot of life skills and to take forward into your working lives as well. Okay, guys, so here's my social. I'm going to be typical KOL. Follow me, Guangzhou. So there's WeChat, there's Little Red Book, there's Douyin. Just to give a quick breakdown, WeChat, I've got 35,000 fans. Xiaohongshu, 165,000. Douyin is 70,000. And why is this important? This is growing as a platform, WeChat. Also, all of you have WeChat. So whenever I say I'm speaking to someone, they say, hey, I don't have these platforms. You all have WeChat. Everybody here has微信视频. Everybody has. So it's great for engagement because everybody has 朋友圈. You can post it on 朋友圈, your videos, content. You can attach 微信公众号 articles. Products, for Chinese users, you can right now. So you can attach your WeChat store. So bear that in mind. If you're a foreigner, you have to get very special permission to have products attached to your videos on your WeChat videos. But for Chinese, it's not an issue. So WeChat is really easy for live streaming, sending gifts. Obviously, you can connect it straight with your WeChat Pay. So that's a good platform to start off with. The great thing about it is if you do content, is you can just post it across you don't need to change it. You can do the same content. So if you produce one video, you can post it on all 3 of them. And you can also see which one has the most engagement. So it's a good way to kind of judge things. So WeChat is quite a good audience. I'll say everybody in here has WeChat. Little Red Book has a really great algorithm. So it's a very affluent audience. It's mainly ladies. Ladies have buying power. So they're very educated on here. You're not going to get too many haters on here. So if you're a bit sensitive to that kind of thing, it's quite a nice platform. This is where I get the most engagement. And Xiaohongshu is quite a good a tester for products and services. So if you want to test the market with your company, this is a good platform. This is a good one to kind of get the word out there about what you're doing. And it's my most popular channel. And for live streaming now, it's pretty easy to set it all up. Douyin. Now, Douyin is a bit of a bane in my life. It's a very mixed bag of audience. You can get kind of farmers, and then you can get very, very rich people, and you can get different, like men, women. It's all a mixed bag, and it's very difficult to do live streaming on here. if you get accepted for live streaming eventually, you have to pay lots of fines and that kind of thing. So Douyin isn't always the best platform, guys. Although it is popular for me, but you're going to get a lot of hate on here from people, so be aware of that. But it's a good way to get the brand, get yourself, get products out there. If you resonate with the audience here, you can tell if you're ever in a Didi, all the Didi drivers use Douyin, right? And I'm sure all of you have been in a Didi before, and they've got Douyin there, right? So you can tell the kind of, it's popular. It is popular amongst Didi drivers, amongst general people out and about. So don't discount it, but I would say out of the two, these are the two that are really going to build your businesses, build your brand, your products and services. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it, guys. Thank you.